better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
I submitted my letter of resignation last night, which felt pretty good. I got 64 days left, and I think I'd have a hard time with my wife, anything past that.
Live from an undisclosed location.
Well, we have long short lists at Trump Tower in terms of transition. I think some people are expected on this list, Nora, and some people would surprise you, would be unexpected. But this is what President-elect Trump is doing every day, meeting with advisors, having interviews with potential candidates for each of these positions.
Unchained and unstoppable.
The liberal media tried to destroy Donald Trump. Instead, they destroyed their own credibility. Their extreme bias is proven. The network media's coverage of Mr. Trump was 91% negative, and 96% of campaign contributions from journalists went to Hillary Clinton. By a 10-to-1 ratio, the American people felt the media were trying to elect Mrs. Clinton. A Gallup poll found that the people's trust in the media has hit a record low.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Radical Islam is an ideology that won't go away by simply crushing them on the battlefield. We must face the fact that we are up against an ism, if you will, like we were against Nazism or communism, and now this is radical Islamism, and we must face that. We must clearly define it. We must get the Muslim world, those moderates that do exist behind us.
Who do you love? Howie Carr.
Nobody should be surprised that there are media critics who are trying to throw rocks at the president-elect and at the transition team, that they don't want the president to succeed.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
It's so ridiculous. That was Howard Dean, by the way, talking about Kent State, saying the election was like Kent State, where four students were gunned down by the Ohio National Guard. You know, those students didn't have any choice about being shot, did they? And by the way, neither did the black students. I think it was, Orangeburg State, I believe, in South Carolina a couple days earlier. There were two people killed there. But these kids didn't vote, by and large. Not that I'm unhappy that they didn't vote, but he's comparing it to Kent State. And, of course, then how Democrat is it that he didn't mention the black students being killed a couple of days earlier? You know, there's a funny joke going around on the Internet right now. The Donald Trump election has made the Democrats the angriest they've ever been since Abe Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation and freed their slaves. Could I have the Mitt Romney laugh for that one?
Ha, 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 ha.
It's true, isn't it? And speaking of slaves, did you just hear Jesse Jackson? I knew there was something wrong with that when I heard it. When it said Jesse Jackson was asking for a pardon, I thought he was talking about his son. I thought his son his son actually went to prison. Jesse Jackson Jr. He was a congressman from Chicago. I know a congressman from Chicago, a member of the Congressional Black Caucus, going to prison. I know it's hard to believe, but there it is. There it is.
Lincoln pardoned Jefferson Davis and other Confederates who engaged in treason. It would be wise, in the name of justice and the lineage of Lincoln and Ford, for President Obama to do the same and to pardon Hillary Clinton.
Well, yeah, Ford did pardon Lincoln. Ford did pardon Nixon. But Lincoln was shot before the Civil War even ended, I believe. I don't think Appomattox had even the surrender at Appomattox had even occurred. So how could Lincoln issue a pardon for Jefferson Davis? And oh, by the way, the Lincoln's successor as president, Andrew Johnson, did not pardon Jefferson Davis, the president of the Confederacy, either. There was a general pardon of everybody who had fought for the Confederacy. But then after the war, Jefferson Davis tried to run for the Senate, and he was not allowed to because he was. They said he was guilty of treason. So Jesse Jackson is just making it up as he goes along, kind of like Keith Ellison, the congressman from Minnesota, blaming George Wallace on the Republican Party when he was actually a Democrat. We have to bring history back to the public schools. That's all I can say. It's not. everybody should know American history to some degree. In Massachusetts, where I went to high school, you used to have to pass a course in American history to get your degree, your high school degree, diploma. And I guess that doesn't apply anymore. Maybe it never applied anywhere. Anyway, welcome to the Howie Carr Show here today, and the lead story here. And I think we should discuss this. This is kind of surprising. This is CNN is reporting today that Mitt Romney is going to meet with Donald Trump this weekend, and the word is that he is up. Willard Mitt Romney is up for the job of Secretary of State. The two men are set to meet this weekend to discuss governing moving forward. That's a quote, and potentially a role for Romney in Trump's cabinet. And then the story I'm reading now doesn't say anything, but there have been other stories, updates saying that he's interested in being Secretary of State. Now, I have nothing against extending the olive branch to defeated foes or rivals. I really don't believe in, I know many of you won't believe this, but I don't believe in holding a grudge. Just move on. Unless somebody has done something really, really bad to you. And I think that what Romney did to Trump during the campaign is something that really can't be forgiven. I mean, I have nothing against Trump, and I don't think it's a mistake for Trump to have, if I may say so, if Elizabeth Warren will forgive me for saying so, smoke the peace pipe with Ted Cruz after that lousy thing he did at the Republican convention in Cleveland, walking off the stage and not endorsing him. Now, Trump came back and he campaigned, and not Trump, Cruz came back and campaigned for Trump. And I thought he was a pretty effective guy out on the campaign trail in the closing days. And if he wants to put Cruz on the Supreme Court, that's where I'd like to see Cruz. But if he wants to appoint him Attorney General, that would be okay with me too. Although I'd prefer to see Jeff Sessions in there, which is now being reported is going to happen. So that's okay. I mean, Cruz kind of came back, like a puppy with his tail tucked between his legs. He knew he had to make peace. The fact that Rick Perry was going around the Lone Star State trying to recruit somebody to primary him in 2018 may have had something to do with it. And also, oh, by the way, the fact that Rick Perry in the trial polls was running like 30 points ahead of Cruz after what happened.
Rick Perry is rumored to be up for energy secretary, which I would really like.
That would be excellent.
Drill, baby, drill.
Especially with that new find in West Texas.
We'll be fracking on the Washington Mall pretty soon.
That'll be great. I love it. Anyway, but Mitt Romney is a horse of a different color, as they say. In an eviscerating speech last March, before Trump clinched the Republican nomination, Trump was slammed by Romney as a con man, a phony, and a fraud. Do you remember this? This is one of those things where, Mitt just didn't say this as, he walked out of the Ponderosa Steakhouse one night. They set this up. Mitt was reading from a teleprompter. They invited every cable station. It was carried live. And it was just a really, really amazing attack on Trump.
Don't forget about the robocalls in Florida and Ohio urging strategic voting.
That's right. Yeah, right. Yeah, Mitt made calls. He did a robocall in Ohio, basically saying, he said, "I'm not going to endorse anybody, but you should vote for somebody who can stop Trump." And in Ohio, that would be Kasich, and in Florida, that would be Rubio, and it really worked out well too. Mitt brought he's always had such great coattails. That he did that robocall for Rubio in Florida, and Trump was only able to carry 66 out of the 67 counties in the state of Florida.
And this also comes after, in 2012, Trump endorsed Romney.
Yeah.
Much fanfare.
Yeah, basically, he kissed his ring. Romney flew out to Vegas because he was opening a new hotel. Remember this? He was opening a new hotel in Vegas, and he said, "I'm a good businessman, but I could." This is what Romney said: "I'm a good businessman, but I could never hope to be Donald Trump." And then he turns around and calls him a con man, and a phony and a fraud.
He also used the same attack that Reid used against him, saying that he thinks there's a bombshell in his taxes.
Romney, I'm reading from the story. It's all coming back to me, although I do remember most of it. Romney also actively sought to recruit a third-party candidate to carry the conservative banner into the 2016 general election. He was one of the never-Trumpers with guys like Bill Kristol. Is he one of the guys who recruited Evan McMuffin?
I mean, they're both Mormons.
Yeah, and Evan McMuffin, the third party candidate. Yeah, I know it's McMullen. You don't have to tell me. I call him McMuffin. He's an egg McMuffin, and he only campaigned basically in Utah. He was trying to throw it into the House of Representatives. That was another thing I never got. You're going to throw it into the House. Who do you think is going to win in the House of Representatives? You know, the Republicans control like 35 states. The delegations, probably more. I mean, they're not going to vote for Evan McMuffin if you throw it into the House of Representatives because nobody gets 270 electoral votes. In June, this is after Trump had clinched the nomination, Romney warned to see it. This is on CNN, the Clinton News Network, that Trump's presidency could usher in trickle-down racism. Why are you giving this guy? Why would you do business with this guy? Why would you give him a plum like Secretary of State? I can understand, okay, you don't want to give it to Bolton. You say you want to keep America out of foreign entanglements, and Bolton is too much of a neocon hawk, and, Rand Paul is speaking out against him. I get all that. But why would you give it to Mitt Romney after what he did to you? I don't understand. This half hour of the Howie Carr Show is powered by Weston Shooters Club, New England's newest and finest private shooting club, where country club meets gun club, conveniently located in Weston, Mass. At the junctions of routes 128 and 20. Visit WestonShootersClub.com. So we'll take some calls on this when we come back. 1-844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
That's right, Howie Carr.